Did you know what we call race might just be the skin, while a deeper, unseen caste system could be, well, the very bones of American society? That's a really powerful, almost counterintuitive claim from Pulitzer-winning author Isabel Wilkerson in her profound book, Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. We've dug into Wilkerson's work, and here are some of the most game-changing insights, practical wisdom that could truly transform how you think and act.
Right. Wilkerson argues that caste isn't simply another word for race. It's something far more rigid, a hierarchical structure. It's a system that basically predetermines a person's status based on arbitrary inborn traits, and it operates kind of beneath the surface. She calls it the powerful infrastructure that holds each group in its place, and it silently shapes, well, almost everything: health outcomes, economic opportunity, even psychological well-being.
That's an idea that really makes you stop and think. So if caste is this unseen infrastructure, where does race fit in, according to Wilkerson? Her metaphor, race, is the visible agent of the unseen force of caste. Caste is the bones, race the skin. That's incredibly striking. Could you maybe elaborate on that a bit? How does it help us understand racism differently?
Absolutely. Yeah, that metaphor really helps us see racism as a symptom, a severe and painful symptom, let's be clear, of this deeper structural system of caste. And what's so insidious about caste, as Wilkerson describes it, is that it is not hatred. It is not necessarily personal. She says it is the worn grooves of comforting routines, patterns of a social order that have been in place for so long that it looks like the natural order of things. It's so ingrained we often don't even see it.
The natural order of things. Wow, that's a powerful thought. And speaking of powerful points that highlight these deep systemic issues, Wilkerson brings up a truly stark statistic. For Black men ages 25-29, police use of force is cited as the seventh leading cause of death.
Yeah, it's a statistic that definitely grabs your attention, and it's really crucial here to understand the context Wilkerson provides. While the interpretation of that kind of data can be complex, how interactions are classified, different analyses, Wilkerson uses it powerfully. It's used to illustrate how the systemic vulnerability inherent in a caste system can manifest in these profoundly disproportionate and tragic outcomes for specific groups. It's really about revealing a pattern of risk, regardless of the exact numbers, maybe varying year to year.
Okay, that context is vital. So how can we start to maybe spot this unseen structure in our everyday lives? Is there a simple way to begin recognizing caste at work?
Well, one simple way to start is just to observe. Look at the seemingly benign indicators of sort of social pecking order. You see it in public spaces, media representation, even how different groups get treated in customer service situations. Just notice whose voices seem amplified, whose needs get prioritized, or who's consistently shown in roles of power versus, say, service roles. These subtle cues often reflect those deeper, ingrained status assignments of caste.
This is Mindful Moments, our YouTube channel offering AI book analysis, summaries, and critiques, inspiring reflection and rational thought. Okay, so it's fascinating to consider. Now, Wilkerson makes this big claim. America, India, Nazi Germany, three societies, one hidden design. What do they share? She identifies these 8 pillars of caste. What are some of those pillars? And, how do we understand them in the American context, especially given that very sensitive comparison to Nazi Germany?
Right, the comparison is sensitive, and Wilkerson is careful. She uses it to highlight structural similarities, not to equate the specific horrors. Her framework includes pillars like inherited rank, meaning your status is largely set by birth. Also, enforcement of boundaries, visible and invisible rules limiting interaction. And purity versus pollution, where one group is seen as superior or cleaner. The point is that caste status is presented as inescapable and permanent, assigned by outside forces, whether in historic India, Nazi Germany, or America's racial hierarchy. For instance, inherited rank here in the U.S. shows up through things like generational wealth, social capital, access to quality education, things that disproportionately benefit certain groups.
That clarifies the scope, yeah. Thinking about these pillars, which ones do you think today's generation could most effectively start to dismantle?
That's a great question. I think today's generation has immense power, especially to challenge inherited rank. By, championing policies that promote truly equitable access, education, healthcare, economic opportunity, not just on paper, but in practice. And they can also actively work on breaking the enforcement of boundaries, fostering genuinely inclusive communities and workplaces, pushing back against segregation, making sure diverse voices are actually heard and valued.
Okay, which brings us to a really crucial point about individual responsibility. Wilkerson suggests privilege isn't just a benefit, it actually comes with a moral duty. What does that duty look like?
Well, she directly challenges people in the dominant caste to recognize injustice and, crucially, to act when they see unfair treatment. not to be complicit through silence. She puts it really powerfully. The least that a person in the dominant caste can do is not participate in humiliation. It's about actively refusing to uphold the system, even in small ways, day to day. But here's a simple way to begin fulfilling that moral duty. Actively listen to and believe the experiences of people in marginalized groups. Educate yourself. Use your voice for justice, even when it seems like a small thing.
It raises a huge question for all of us, doesn't it? What price will future generations pay if we stay silent today? Wilkerson's work really pushes us to look beyond the surface, right down to the bones of our society, and to recognize the power each of us has to challenge that natural order when it's actually an unjust one. Before you go, remember you can dive deeper. Start with our 5-minute viral moments, then jump into the in-depth analysis. Next, the summary, ending with the comprehensive critique. Discover genre-based book podcasts at Mindful Moments. Subscribe and nourish your mind on the go.